What's up, guys? Today I want to talk a little bit about Atlanta, which is today's Friday, so Sunday. A lot of people looking forward to it. It's a new configuration. There's a lot of mixed feelings about it from a lot of people in the community, especially myself, which I'll get into shortly. Uh, but for the couple of you people who are living under a rock, Atlanta was reconfigured into what some people are coining the phrase of Baby Daytona, which is something that, right off the bat, something I do not support, have not been in favor of. But I'm going to let you guys know right off the bat, I'm not here to bash. I'm not here to just try to look for everything that, predict everything's going to be terrible. I want to try to look at this realistically, but also letting you know right off the bat that for me, I'm looking forward to the race just from a curiosity standpoint. I'm really curious to see what's going to happen on the track, like most of you. The ratings for NASCAR have been much higher than recent years. It's still early, but I think people are excited about this new car with good reason. NASCAR deserves a lot of credit for this car and the way it's performing. It's not perfect. There are issues that need to be ironed out, and I think they will iron those issues out as we move along. But so far, every race has been pretty good. Daytona's been Daytona. I don't really see it any different from any previous year, and I don't care for pack racing, which brings me to this upcoming race. Atlanta was reconfigured. They with the intent of creating more pack racing. That is where I jump off the train. That's what bothers me. I don't want to see more pack racing, wide open throttle racing, and the attempt to get there and more of that type of racing, to me, is what has ruined NASCAR in recent years. Since that 2018 All-Star race, um, it's been downhill. And a lot of people, after that, they were like, oh, yeah, we need more pack racing, wide open throttle. It's going to be great. And guess what? It wasn't great. Uh, Attendance dropped. It was already down, but it just got worse. Ratings have been steadily dropping. People have just been, for the most part, complaining about racing in general. And this new car has been to me, a huge success so far, right? We only have a handful of races, but they've been good. And if you let's look at Auto Club, which I think, and I would think most of you would agree, was the most exciting race so far this year. Turned out to be, at Auto Club, one of the tracks that for many years people complained about and has provided, or at least we haven't seen, good racing. So what does that tell you? It tells you that, like I've been telling you, the problem isn't the racetrack, it was the package, it was the car. You should be pushing towards more off-throttle racing, handling, tire wear, putting the car the driving back in the driver's hands, and we've been seeing that so far this year, and the racing has been fantastic. The ratings are up. So NASCAR deserves credit for the design of this car and the work they put into it. But the owners of this track, I think they made a big mistake. And I'm not going to predict that it's going to be bad. I'm curious to see what's going to happen because, let's be honest, nobody can really predict. We don't have a clue what's going to happen with this new car and on this track. I'm just talking about the intent, right? The intention of this reconfiguration is to produce like a baby Daytona. I don't want that. I don't like that. Based on that intent to do that, that's where I'm like negative about it. But that being said, we don't know till we see what happens. Who knows? Maybe by accident, it turns out that the racing isn't like that, right? We don't know. NASCAR has reconfigured other racetracks. Look at Texas and other tracks, and what they were hoping to provide, it kind of didn't work. So maybe this doesn't end up being pack racing. I'm just thinking outside the box. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but maybe by accident, it just turns out that it's good racing for other reasons. And that is what I'm curious to see. What's going to happen? And if we end up getting something we're not expecting and it turns out to be good, I will be the first to say, I'm happy, this is great, and so on and so forth, right? I don't want this to fail. But if we get what the intent was, wide open pack racing, that's not going to be good. And I will be the first to come on here and say that sucked. And I'm going to tell people right now, I know that no matter what happens, there are going to be people, especially if you do get Baby Daytona, they're going to come out and tell you how awesome the race was, no matter what. The same people that tell you every year that the Talladega and Daytona 500, oh my God, it was awesome, even though it's not. It's a boring 3.5, 4 hours of a conga line and a couple of big crazy wrecks, right? So those people are going to tell you it's awesome. Not for me. But, like I said, who knows? So, I am not on board with this reconfiguration, right? I think Atlanta, as it was a crown jewel track. Okay, it was never considered. I mean, we all know a Daytona, Charlotte, Darlington, and what was the other? The Brickyard. Those were the crown jewel races, right? Officially, that NASCAR always talked about. But the Brickyard's not around anymore. I would have loved to see how these cars would race at the Brickyard. It would have been nice if they actually held one more race there with this next gen car just to see what happens, right? Just to see if the racing was still not as good as people want, then I would say, okay, fine, get rid of it. But I just don't want to see any more 1.5-mile tracks get thrown in the trash. We have enough road courses. There's plenty of short tracks. I think please don't fuck up any more 1.5-mile tracks. 1.5-mile tracks have been a big part of NASCAR's history, and a lot of times people blame the racetrack instead of where the blame should go, the race package and the car itself. And when NASCAR tried to promote with that lower horsepower, higher downforce package, the racing was garbage everywhere. I went to Richmond. I saw the race live, and I couldn't believe it. And it was the second time I've been to Richmond, and it was so different from the previous time. And you could see these cars had such a hard time passing on a short track like that. The race package was horrendous. So, please don't fuck up any more 1.5-mile tracks. So yeah, I'm curious to see what happens here, and I got my fingers crossed. But the one thing the track needed, we all agree, it needed to be repaved. I get it. But with today's technology, they could have come up with a mix of like asphalt that would promote better racing in terms of like tire wear and stuff. Because I know a lot of times when they repave these tracks, it takes like 5 or 6 years to weather in and produce that tire wear and that good racing. But it's 2022. There's a lot of technology out there, and I think if you get the right asphalt mix, you could have had a track that right off the bat would produce good tire wear, right? I mean, I don't want to say that with 100% certainty, but surely they could have come up with something and just repave the track and then put the rest of the money into the rest of the racetrack, the amenities, the infield around the track, things like that to give people a better experience at the track. But for God's sake, man, that racetrack did not need to be reconfigured. I just that's really, those are my thoughts. So I look forward to the race. I'm curious to see what happens. One last thought. NASCAR talks a lot about safety. They talk a lot about affordability, right? So that's a big part of this next gen car, right? They want these owners to have more affordability when it comes to being an owner and dealing with, building these cars and the expense of it and all that stuff. But yet, this reconfiguration and what they're purposely promoting, which is more pack racing, one, that goes against safety, right? Because you probably might get these big wrecks, right? So it's more dangerous, right? You can't keep talking about safety and then promote pack racing. Those two things don't go hand in hand. So what about safety? And the other thing is, oh my God, now I can't remember. Oh, the expense of the car was, so safety, and then also wreck all these cars being wrecked, right? What if you do have some big massive wreck, or half the field is taken out by the end of the race? That these owners are going to have to, eat the cost of all these wrecks. So you're going against the whole idea of this next gen car providing some relief financially and safety for the drivers. So there's a mixed message there. Those are the things I think about with this whole reconfiguration. And I don't want to see 3 hours of a conga line of cars in a fucking rail. And I'm just hoping that by accident it turns out to be something completely unexpected in a good way. And if that happens, I will be happy and excited. But it's tough for me to be positive about this right now, knowing what an iconic and classic racetrack Atlanta has been historically. And to blame the racetrack for the low attendance and the lesser than the downfall of the actual the quality of racing in recent years, you can't blame the track. It had to do with the race package. So I'm curious to see what to expect. I want to know what you guys think. What do you expect to see Sunday? And do you agree or disagree with me? Maybe if you do look forward to looking at a baby Daytona and want to see a conga line, and you think I'm wrong about that, just let me know. I'm curious to see. But, so far, this new car has proven so far, okay? We just started. But when you look at Auto Club, historically a very bad racetrack in terms of quality of racing, and so far this year, that was the most exciting, best race. All the races have been good. Like I said, I don't forget about Daytona. I'm not counting that, but the rest of these races, it's been pretty damn good. So I would have loved to see this new car on the old Atlanta configuration, even with a repave. I think it would have been fantastic. But that's never going to happen now. They're moving forward. It is what it is. So I can only hope that we don't get, another Daytona Talladega style of race on the circuit. And for the love of God, I don't want to hear about any more tracks being cut off the schedule that are mile and a halves. I don't want to see that anymore. So anyway, I'll talk about the race uh, either Sunday or Monday, and I'll give you my thoughts on it. And I hope it's mostly positive. Yeah, so I look forward to your comments later.